Your thumb moves before you even decide to move it. You feel the buzz in your pocket. You feel your hand reaching for it. You already know there's a decent chance it's nothing. You check it anyway. Why? The easy answer is that phones are designed to be addictive. That's true. But it's not the real answer. The real answer is far stranger. The real answer is that your brain is doing something it has done for 2 million years, and the phone just found a new way to trigger it. Think about the last time you refreshed an app for no reason. There was no notification. Nothing had changed. You just felt a pull, a small itch behind your eyes, and you pulled out your phone to scratch it. That itch has a name. Scientists call it a variable reward loop, and it did not start with Silicon Valley. It started on the savannah. Picture an early human walking through tall grass looking for food. She doesn't know where the food is. She doesn't know if today's search will turn up ripe fruit, a beehive full of honey, or nothing at all. Every bush is a question mark. Every rustle in the grass might be dinner, or it might be nothing. Should she check the next one? This is called foraging behavior, and it shaped the human brain more than almost anything else. The anthropologist Kristin Hawkes spent years studying the Hadza, a hunter-gatherer group in Tanzania, and found that their foraging patterns weren't random wandering. They were careful, calculated searches driven by uncertain payoff. You never know exactly when you'll find something good, but you know that if you stop looking, you'll definitely find nothing. That uncertainty is the key. Not the reward itself, the not knowing. In the 1950s, a psychologist named B.F. Skinner ran an experiment that, decades later, would explain more about your phone than any tech company ever admitted. He put pigeons in a box with a lever. Press the lever, get a food pellet. Simple enough. But then he changed the rules. Instead of a pellet every time, the pigeons got a pellet at random intervals. Sometimes after one press, sometimes after 20. Something strange happened. The pigeons that got a reward every single time eventually got bored and stopped pressing. But the pigeons on the random schedule, they pressed the lever obsessively, compulsively. Even when the food stopped coming entirely, they kept pressing far longer than the pigeons who'd been rewarded consistently. Skinner called this a variable ratio reinforcement schedule, and it turned out to be one of the most powerful behavior patterns ever discovered. Your phone runs on the exact same schedule. Not every scroll gives you something interesting. Not every check gives you a message. But sometimes it does, and you never know when. So you keep pressing the lever. But why does uncertainty feel so good in the first place? Wouldn't it make more sense if your brain preferred a guaranteed reward? This is where it gets stranger. In the 1990s, a neuroscientist named Wolfram Schultz was studying dopamine neurons in monkeys, and he expected to find that dopamine spiked when the monkeys received a reward, like a squirt of juice. It did at first. But then something unexpected showed up in the data. Once the monkeys learned that a certain cue predicted the juice, the dopamine spike moved. It stopped firing at the reward and started firing at the anticipation of the reward. Even more strangely, when Schultz made the reward unpredictable, giving the juice only sometimes after the cue, the dopamine response got bigger, not smaller. The uncertainty itself was generating more of the chemical tied to motivation and craving than certainty ever did. Your brain isn't built to reward you for getting things. It's built to reward you for the chase. This made perfect sense for a forager 2 million years ago. An animal that felt a small hit of motivation every time it searched, whether or not it found anything, would keep searching longer. It would check one more bush, walk one more mile, turn over one more rock. And over generations, the foragers who kept searching outlived the ones who gave up. That restless itch to check just one more time is a survival trait. You inherited it from ancestors who needed it to eat. Now picture that same ancient itch, still fully wired into your skull, pointed at a glowing rectangle that fits in your palm. Every unlocked screen is a bush in the grass. Every scroll is a few more steps through the savannah. Sometimes there's nothing. Sometimes there's a message from someone you like, a video that makes you laugh, a notification that makes your chest tighten. You can't predict which one it will be. And that unpredictability is exactly what keeps your thumb moving. Here's the part that should unsettle you a little. The people who design these apps know this. They've read the same research on Skinner's pigeons and Schultz's monkeys that scientists have known about for decades. They've built pull-to-refresh gestures that mimic a slot machine lever. They've built notification systems that don't always tell you everything at once, so you have to open the app to find out what you're missing. They didn't invent your craving, they just found the oldest button in your brain and started pressing it on purpose. So the next time you feel that itch, the phantom buzz that isn't real, the urge to check an app that has nothing new to show you, remember what you're actually feeling. You're not weak, you're not broken. You're a forager, walking through tall grass that happens to be made of glass and light, still convinced that the next bush might be the one with the fruit in it. Does knowing this change anything? Maybe not immediately. The itch doesn't go away just because you understand where it came from. But there's something useful in knowing that the craving isn't really about the phone. It's about an ancient search algorithm that never got the memo that the hunting ground moved indoors. Some researchers have started testing this idea directly, turning off variable notifications and replacing them with predictable, scheduled ones, and finding that compulsive checking drops off almost immediately once the uncertainty is removed. Take away the mystery of the next bush, and the urge to check it disappears. That's not a coincidence. That's the entire mechanism exposed in a single experiment. You're not fighting a design flaw in your willpower. You're fighting 2 million years of finely tuned foraging instinct, dressed up in a phone case, and once you see the pattern, you start noticing it everywhere. The slot machine in the casino, the next episode that autoplays before you can decide not to watch it, the inbox you refresh one more time, just in case. All of it runs on the same ancient circuitry your ancestors used to find their next meal. Your thumb moves before you even decide to move it. Now you know why. It's not because you're addicted to a screen. It's because somewhere behind your eyes, a part of your brain that is 2 million years old is still walking through the grass, still checking the next bush, still convinced that this time, there might be something waiting for you.